Um, 1 second. Jared. No, I think we just might have just talked over him, but he looks really good. Jared, say something.
Right.
All right, test, test. One, two,
No,
three.
yeah, you're good, man. You're good. All right, let's do it. Let's start Microsoft. Brian, give us your take on it.
Well, Microsoft could be interesting. I mean, there's a lot of debate going on about whether how much people are going to spend on AI and whether they need to. And I think it's going to be a it's going to be an interesting report. And of course, you've got all the overhang stuff going on right now with some of the uncertainty. So it could be end up just being another one of these sort of almost non-events where we've been seeing um, quite a few of these companies that are reporting, and they're not moving that much at all, sort of sticking pretty close to their open or close. So we may not get much of an expected move. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. But this is why I don't like to trade earnings, because it feels like a kind of a crapshoot at this point. And I think if there is a season or an earnings season now that's a bit of a crapshoot, it just feels like it's this one. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Just checking some stuff on YouTube, guys. Give me a second, and something about audio on the YouTube side. So we're just checking
We're
that.
dropping now. SPY's dropping a bit.
All right, guys. I'm not sure what's going on. I hear you guys perfect. How about the chat room? Can you guys hear us good in the chat as well? Is chat coming across okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, looks like YouTube is good too. I don't. People are saying there's no
Hmm.
sound on YouTube, but I see it coming across. Just want to check here. Um, yeah, I think you guys are good, man. Keep
Oh,
going. Brian, I think you kind of finished up. So, Jared, give us your update on
yeah.
Microsoft, and I think the sound is good now.
Okay. Yeah, so gonna keep it kind of short and sweet with Microsoft. Brian hit on something we've been seeing with general earnings this season, and it's mostly muted reactions, which simply means that we're not really going anywhere particular. And more importantly, we're actually seeing price return, which was kind of a noteworthy effect that we saw with Alphabet over the past couple days. So there's kind of a general, I would say, like behavioral pattern that we're seeing. Price action is not very momentum driven post earnings, and oftentimes it actually just kind of returns back to where it closed the previous day. So we'll take some of that into account as we see the reaction from Microsoft. However, it's good to know where the expected move is. And for Microsoft, we're expecting about plus or minus 17.5. For the stock, right now it looks like we're trading right around 390, hoping maybe to close there, so I don't have to adjust my boundaries. But that puts our expected move between 372.5 to the downside and 407.5 to the upside. So the combination of those two moves, I've kind of marked them on the daily chart. If we were to move down, we'd be losing the last week of progress. And that's kind of where Microsoft got some of its most recent momentum. This last week of trade has kind of been a rally up to the top end of the range. And the upper expected move would actually be kind of a significant shift back up. We'd start to hit maybe a lot of last year's more structural supports. And more importantly, we'd be on the approach back above 400. So obviously the bulls are wanting to see more of a recovery off of some of these swing lows. And the bears are trying to maybe put it back to where we've been trading the past week or two. Um, as I mentioned, most of the earnings reactions are pretty muted. I would expect Microsoft to live in that range, but I'm also going to be looking for maybe any reason to expect a breach because this particular volatility for Microsoft is actually kind of low. This is essentially a plus or minus 5% move on Microsoft. And oftentimes that's a little bit too low for a stock that tends to have a lot more weighting. So any significant breach would be noteworthy on this one. But I'm going to go with the expected, and that's our fence line. It kind of shows you where the technicals might end up if we were to hit either side. And that's it.
All right, awesome, man.
Yeah, it could be interesting.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm like if I was going to bet on this, I would bet that it's going to be a typical of our earnings season, and we're going to end up with a bit of a muted move. So if you were inclined to play it with options, you could sell some puts and then sell some puts and sell some calls out of the money, and then if you wanted protection, you'd buy puts and calls further out of the money to cover
Yeah.
those just in case you were, we get a blowout number and um, blowout reaction. But I typically don't like to trade earnings either definitely not with stocks and not really with options either. So,
Yeah.
but
The
if I was going to play it, that's probably the way I'd play this one. I'd probably sell some puts and calls and then maybe buy some puts and calls further out just for protection.
the
So
behavior has
what's
been
your
a lot of muted
yeah,
expected moves. So
yeah,
you're suggesting doing something like a credit iron condor across maybe the expected
exactly. Yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah. See what Microsoft would look like. It's 390. So if we looked at you're saying 407 and 372.
Hmm. Yeah, that would be plus or minus 17 on both sides.
Yeah.
1750. So yeah, theoretically, if that were to be a iron condor type of play, you'd probably want to sell slightly above the expected move or
Right.
at the expected move. And the issue is it's such a low volatility right now that there's actually not a lot of credit up here. You'd have to maybe sell a
No.
few contracts.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a
With
pretty big
yeah,
risk. So,
yeah. The 370 is you'd only get a buck 90.
but
Yeah, and the
410,
410s you get about a buck 90 too, about a buck 90 as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not horrible because you'd be selling a 410, maybe 415 call vertical. And then if we're doing
Yeah,
the put side, we'd probably sell like a 370 by 365. That would lead you
exactly.
to
Yeah,
about a $500 risk and about a $1.50 credit. So, um,
yeah,
it's not horrible. That's actually about what you're looking for. Um,
yeah,
now that I kind of brought it in.
yeah.
All right, awesome,
That's
guys.
about if you were going to play it. That is about the kind of risk to reward you'd expect.
Mhm. All right, we got
Yeah.
you back, Carlos.
Yeah, I had a little bit of some sound issues happening in chat, so that's why I was kind of out of pocket a little bit. But we're back now.
Awesome.
All right, so that is Microsoft, guys. Again, looking forward to it. But you said something a couple of days, Jared, where our earnings have been pretty weird and muted, right, compared to the actual stock. I don't remember if you said this last week or in the engineering the markets in the morning, but it's true, man. Earnings have been taking somewhat of a backseat. Everybody pulling their guidance, and we're just kind of seeing what the news is that morning for the overall economical data, economic data and stuff like that. So we'll see, man. I got no high hopes for this earning on Microsoft, but it'll be fun to watch either way, right? The other big one we have today is Meta, right? So another one that's, by the way, pushing up today, like into the close. We're getting a lot of activity, but here's Meta, another one that can also move a ton. What's your thoughts on Meta, Brian, and what do you expect out of this one?
Meta. Well, Meta's kind of interesting. We got results from Snap last night, and they were kind of disappointing. They pulled guidance. Um, had some earnings misses and top and bottom line, and I think Meta kind of reacted in sympathy to that. Although we are getting kind of a bid here going into the close. SPY is squeezing up, and so are a number of stocks. Nvidia. Getting back to Meta, again, sort of ad revenue driven. I think Snap had some concerns with a lot of companies about giving some forward-looking guidance because of the environment we're in right now. Everyone's a little bit skittish. Um, and consumer sentiment is pretty low right now. So um, we'll see what Meta has to say. I think there's going to be a lot of focus on what kind of guidance, if anything, that they if they're going to offer guidance. Because, like I said, a lot of the companies have not been offering any guidance for this quarter, or at least offering cautious guidance. So we'll see. Meta, quite often doesn't fail to disappoint. Or so it may, if anything's going to rip higher, I would say Meta has a better chance than Microsoft. Kind of my take on it.
Yeah, Meta reminds me a little bit of how Google's earning works as well, right? Because they're so heavy on ad revenue that kind of, that's what they really do and move around here. But we'll see. We'll see what Meta does. Not. It's funny. Google and Meta are both the least of my favorite when it comes to the Magnificent Seven. I think they're more difficult to trade. But obviously, with earnings tomorrow, this should be a lot more fun if we don't have any other news that's going to be moving things around like we're seeing here. I'm not sure if any news broke out, but man, we're getting a heck of a rally on a lot of these tickers that we've been watching, and Meta being one of them now. Jared, as far as our numbers for today out of Meta, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I was doing some fast drawings while I was waiting.
Ah,
Um,
nice.
so so yeah, Meta. I think from an expected move perspective, I've seen Meta trade quite a few earnings, and it's a known mover and shaker from its expected move. It often violates what the option market is expecting. I'm kind of taking that into account, even though we've seen more muted reactions. And as Brian mentioned, there's some sympathy here with Snapchat, um, just with regards to like ad revenue or any company that has a large amount of their revenue coming from ads. So, potential for Meta to sell off, just in sympathy. But the expected move for Meta is plus or minus 40. And I don't have a good sense on the closing price. As you mentioned, it's kind of driving up right now. So maybe they can move it to 550 before the close. I've seen crazier things today. But if we are going to trade around 550, we're probably going to be looking for plus or minus $50 just because Meta tends to underprice the volatility. And I have 40 as what the options are expecting, but 50 seems a bit more likely. So what I've done on my chart, just to kind of highlight that, if we move to the upside, then the expected move would be right around 600. And what's funny about that, and we've seen this a few times more from the previous earnings cycle, that is year to date open. So Meta is down this year. It's down off of its all-time highs, but it's also down on the year. I'm curious what they're going to do with it when it's flat. And 600 would be putting Meta back to flat on the year, of which they could sell it. If we just drop, then downside potential is $50. And if we're going to close right around 550, then it puts us right back at 500. So it's kind of an easy psychological price to bound the stock around, 600 above, 500 below. I think what's more interesting is the upside potential. They could actually rally the stock and then reject it because, a lot of stocks right now are actually trading under year to date open, and Meta is one of them. So I'd be curious to see if that's possible. And that was something that um, Microsoft is actually too far down to hit year to date open. So it's still a red stock unless it has a magnificent rally. Meta could actually hit it. And that's going to be an interesting price to observe. Even if it rallies, it could potentially reject. So somewhere between 500 and 600. I know it's a big range, but it's $50. So Meta's got plenty of room to move.
Yeah,
Man, and
awesome,
as,
man.
as we're speaking, the SPY has gone green and the
Yeah,
Qs are just about to go green. I mean, we have just had a rip your face off rally the last 5 minutes. Just unbelievable.
yeah, trying to go out strong here. I missed, unfortunately, Jerry, your Microsoft numbers. What were they? Because I was messing around with some audio stuff. What were the Microsoft numbers?
Yeah, so Microsoft has an expected move of 17.5, and the whole market is rallying, so I can't get a really good
Yeah,
closing
it's kind of,
price. But
yeah,
um, before the rally, it was 407.5 and 372.5. I think
right,
what I'm going
right.
to do, if we're going to move up this well, I'll just move this up to 410 and I'll
Yeah,
move this up to 375 just to kind of move with the market a little bit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Things are, they're messing with you today, Jerry. You can see here Microsoft going up almost $2.50, going green. Is this for the first time today? Yeah, going green for the
Mhm.
first time today. And a lot of things. Just, is there any news? I haven't seen anything, but
It's
No, this
markets
it's
is
are.
just
just we've seen this before where we get these rip your face off. Seems to
Yeah,
be the last week or so we've seen these outsized moves right before the close. Wow. Like look at it.
I'm
SPY
telling
is
you, man.
still going.
There's just so
And it's
much
gonna
money
hit
out there. People don't want to miss the move. I think there's so many traders now.
yeah.
People know we're gonna bounce, and they don't want to miss the move. They're willing to put in their money before some news breaks out that
Yeah,
China's removing their tariff. Nobody wants to miss the boat, man. Everybody wants to be in, and wow, it's just this market is impressive. It really is.
mhm.
yeah, I mentioned in the room I took PLTR long this morning and I've been holding it. I've just been holding it and I did sell some at 118, but I'm gonna be hanging on over the for for tomorrow and see what we get tomorrow. But yeah,
Yeah.
PLTR has been awesome.
I mean, you're up was $7 if you took it early in the morning before on
Yeah, well,
10.
not quite
I
that
mean,
much.
that's
More like five.
okay.
I'm up
Still
about
great.
$5
Yeah.
now.
Awesome, man. That is a beautiful thing. I know you guys were. I heard you guys talking about QCOM when I hopped into the chat earlier, and I think you have some numbers for Jared. You want to talk about that since it looks somewhat active today as
Nice.
well.
Yeah.
So you're still in the PLTR trade too. Way to go. Awesome.
Yeah. So QCOM, I haven't done any markup. It's kind of like the tertiary of what we're discussing, but I did check the expected move really quickly. It's about $9. And, if I see nine, I'm probably going to round up to 10. It's already kind of going up to 10 anyway. So let's just give it a nice even $10 up or down. Once again, really hard to figure out the closing price today because of this rally. But I'm looking at the stock slightly under 150. That kind of puts it back to 160 to the upside, maybe a little bit lower. And I was talking with a trader in the room, just like some levels on QCOM, some technical levels. There's been quite a lot of consolidation or just range trading a couple of quarters before the most recent sell-off. So I would say that if we do hit 160, I think it puts a lot of sellers maybe on the back foot and maybe kind of violates their breakdown of this range. So it'd be an interesting move to get it back to 160. There might actually be a little bit of violence on the way back up. Um, if we were to move lower, $10 lower is just 140. That once again just kind of puts you under the weekly lows and maybe where we came from last week. So it's not a huge move down, especially given we've traded it recently. I think the one that's more interesting is, do we clear some sellers? And QCOM has a very clear, almost like breakdown type seller around 160 that dropped this base out. That would be a very important level to clear. So either way, some technical levels and maybe a range that we could recover if we were to go up.
Yeah. Good, man. Interesting. This is one. This was going to be reporting right at 4. What about Microsoft and Meta? What are their times? Do we have those? I haven't looked those up yet.
Yeah. Microsoft is 405.
Okay.
And I saw Meta was 440. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but that's what Earnings Whispers
Mm.
mentioned.
Yeah. Earnings whispers. Yeah, their data be good sometimes. Good, good.
Wow. All the indexes have gone green.
Too bad Peter's not wasn't here for his 1 to 10. He could have got an incredible move today.
Yeah.
This
I mean, I don't know what if there were any good 1 to 10s. This has just been a didn't
yeah.
look like. I mean, PLTR didn't give much.
Wow, we're going.
Nvidia just can just didn't it just continued to move higher. I think you just needed to buy going into the close here
Yeah.
last 15 20 minutes.
Yeah, the rallies that look like this, it's usually like the opposite party just kind of shuts off after a certain point in time, and you can almost feel certain traders starting to give up throughout the day, like any
Yeah.
contrarian or pullback type trader. They were just like, I can't fight this anymore, and
Give in. Give
it's
in.
yep. It's a weird type of trend because you're coming from a low, but I mean, even I tried to fight it a little bit and I made money, but it wasn't easy. So you have
Yeah.
to be
Yep.
very careful. So
No, no question. Some interesting trading that's taking place in your thesis or if you're biased, whatever you have. You just got to be careful because this market is just. If there's any time to be unpredictable, this is it right here. Not
Yeah,
surprising because nothing surprises us. We've been around trading for such a long time now, but unpredictable is probably the better word here.
I
Um,
think I talked about this a little, but the monthly candle, because it's the last day, they're actually trying to close the monthly candle with no body. So we opened around these prices at the beginning of the month, and now we're
mm,
looking to close. So it's a full recovery of the candle, almost.
yeah,
I didn't expect it all today, but they proved me wrong.
that's a
Mm.
good point. I forgot today's the last day of the month. So tomorrow's the first, and tomorrow, yes, we do have the guy from Brazil as your username. We do have Apple and some other ones as well. Just another Apple, and what else? It's a big one too. It's Apple
Uh,
and just have the
Amazon.
calendar.
So,
Amazon, yes. Yep.
so in terms of consensus, we're looking for 322 on Microsoft for earnings per share, and Meta we're looking for about 522 on earnings per share. So we'll see how that pans out. Finally, getting a little bit of selling here after that orgasmic buying right into the close here.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought sellers capitulated earlier today when we spiked like at two
Wow, look
o'clock.
at that! Yeah, SPY. Look at they closed the SPY right at PDC.
Yeah. That is
All
wild.
right.
I am looking at
I'm watching
Microsoft.
yeah, I'm watching QCOM first just because they're supposed to report initially. But I've got Microsoft and Meta as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hood was another one that was also reporting today. I see that them on their
Mm.
schedule. Coca Cola, eBay, some other names on there. But again, we can't look at everything here. We'll look at QCOM,
Man, did
Microsoft.
they? That was crazy. They really dumped that into the close there. Oh, Microsoft is popping up here a bit. It's,
Yeah, we almost hit the expected move there in one shot.
Yeah, you moved it up to 410, right? Look at that.
Yeah,
Microsoft might
and
have reported a little early here because they're
it's
they're
hitting
they're
my
moving.
my pretty green line already. Look how clean
I
that
know
is.
I
It's
think it's about
kissing
to
it.
yeah, that's a big
go.
move.
Oh, it's
It's going through your
busting,
line, man. It's going through your line.
busting out of it.
Yeah, 410. Yeah,
Dang,
Microsoft. Here you go. Nothing
this
on
is
Meta yet.
this would be one of our first breaches if it starts pushing up here. We haven't had a lot of expected move breaches recently.
Yeah, we you're right. We haven't not like this. Look at this thing.
Oh, that's what the market likes to see.
Wow, 420.
Numbers must be out on Microsoft. I haven't seen
Yeah,
them
they
yet.
have to be. I haven't seen them yet in either
Hmm.
on Benzinga, but they have to be out. Somebody has them. Because look at this thing. Although the volume, yeah, volume seems good for earnings already.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
We're
good.
hitting
420.
we're hitting year to date open. I didn't expect this because it was too far. This is year to date open on Microsoft.
Mm.
This is where we started. Wow.
What a
Yep.
nice move. And it looks like it's not done. This thing looks like it wants to go, but let's see. Uh, that is nice. Did we get anything on QCOM? Oh, yeah, we
Yeah,
did. To the
up.
downside now.
Let's see. Microsoft is starting to stall a bit. It's definitely people asking higher on Microsoft here.
Yeah, yeah.
Just kind of looking to see what we're doing at 420. Meta's
That's
starting to
looking
move
nice.
up. Yeah, Microsoft's probably got the best move right now. QCOM's moving down, but a lot less volume.
Hmm.
That one that one's hitting near the lower expected move, about 140.
Yeah, so
Nice.
it had looks like maybe Microsoft earnings revenue 70 billion, estimate was 68, earnings per share 346, and as I mentioned earlier, estimate was 322.
Not too
Nice.
bad.
So some beat on the top and bottom line, not by a huge amount, but enough for the market to like it. Certainly, the earnings per share were pretty decent. That's it's better than a 5%, 5% better than expected.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting they're moving this much with just, I mean, they're not blockbuster numbers, but we've seen that if stocks are
No,
not hitting it out the park, that they're kind of staying put, or in some cases, they're not being rewarded. They're actually dropping. But Microsoft is having a very nice reaction here to their earnings, at least
yeah,
for now. Let's see.
it's
See what.
it's gotten sold off quite a bit, so I guess maybe not a um, like I said, it's well off um, this high that we hit in end of December or December January around 450. So it
Yeah.
is off quite a bit. So making up some of those gains there. Looks like the Qs are responding positively.
Also
We
have
Oh,
we
we've
we
got
Meta.
a move on Meta now. Meta's popping.
Yeah, earnings might not be out yet, but there's definitely some volume here. I didn't want to
yeah.
draw a line on Meta, so I've got a box instead. It's
I
approaching a
see. I see a
box.
green. I see a green box up there.
Meta's too hard to draw a line. Draw a box instead.
Yeah.
An
Yeah.
area.
It's an area. Good.
But I don't know why it's moving up. So
Look at POTR. You are just crushing this thing, Brian. POTR 119. Just going higher here. That is a beautiful thing. So in
Yeah,
your swing trade there.
Microsoft seems to be stuck around 420. Meta's pulling back a bit now after that
Yeah.
pop, but the volume's not huge on Meta. I don't know if the numbers are out yet. We're not getting a lot of volume.
yeah, it kind of looks like QCOM
So
hit
again,
some boundaries here.
I believe we're looking for 522 earnings per share.
QCOM's got an expected move reaction, approximately 140. Some buying starting to enter. There's actually some people on the ask as well, so I don't see a lot of downside left on QCOM. I'm curious if they're gonna rebound it for a while. Maybe start picking it back up. Might be one to keep an eye on. You might start seeing price turn back around.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I've got people asking 145, 148. So if enough buying comes in, QCOM could actually reverse. They have the orders up there.
We're getting some pretty wild activity on Meta. down to 557 from 580.
Got
So you're
for
getting
earnings
some
per share, we've got
moves.
640. We've got 643 on Meta earnings per
Okay.
share. Consensus was 522. So, that was a much better beat than, than Microsoft. But not getting as good a reaction.
Yeah, not that great.
So again, could be some weak guidance. Hmm. Hood wasn't reporting after the close, was it? No.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're today as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know if they're out yet, but they were. We had Hood, Coca-Cola, eBay, some other ones on here as well.
Oh, we definitely had yeah, we had eBay.
Yeah,
Hmm. Not seeing Hood. I think obviously some of the semiconductors got hit last night, this morning, just because of this. The SMCI pre-announced um, their earnings, or at least their expected earnings, and they kind of disappointed. So
yeah,
said a lot of the orders were delayed, or so that kind of hurt a lot of the semis. Yeah, Hood's really jumping up and down here.
Kind of some interesting
Wow, PLTRs.
some interesting selling on
I'm happy.
Microsoft here. I think it's actually in relation to the year-to-date open. I'm not saying we're
Mm,
selling off hard, but it's interesting to see a reaction right now. Um, I
yeah,
think I don't think we have the buying volume yet. Well, uh, it's starting to come back in. We might not
no,
have the buying
PLTR
volume
still
yet to
looking
get all
great.
these asks. So
yeah, yeah. POTRs, it's your monster, Brian. We're seeing it. We're seeing your POTR here do its thing. So might go to 120 soon if it keeps going like this. So doing pretty nice. Um, QCOM, Microsoft is holding, and Meta trying to get back up. Let's see. I want to see Meta 600, man. I want to see if we can get there. That'd be nice.
Wow.
Get that
yeah,
600. Microsoft's call will be at 5:30. Meta's call show 5 o'clock. So I always like to come back in the app later and see how it looks after
yeah.
their call. If there's anything that surprised anyone. Um,
Yeah, that's really important actually. A lot of the earnings reactions that we're seeing are without the conference call initially.
yeah,
So oftentimes we
Hmm.
see quick quick movement, usually a lot of orders getting filled in one direction, and then there are cases where the earnings call or the conference call turns the price around. Sometimes we continue. So it's really good to kind of separate the two because the initial reaction is much more about maybe the expected move and what sort of volatility to kind of anticipate. The conference call will confirm or deny the reaction,
yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe the reaction is in the wrong direction. So we often see turnarounds because of that.
yeah.
So,
All
but
right, Meta's
so
pushing.
far, yeah, so far
Here it
Microsoft's
goes.
starting to bid back up and QCOM can't find good buyers, so we're sticking with our movement right now.
Yeah, yeah. Meta had a great recovery here, down and just right back up, almost towards the high of the after hours here.
Yeah, that is a monster. It's such a big mover. Like it's hard to think about positioning when the stock is priced this high, but also able to move this much, you know,
Yeah. Yep.
because it's just so much more volatile than some of the other ones. Mm.
Tomorrow morning should be fun, although we haven't been needing a whole lot of like news or catalyst. Market has been just very active, but we can get some extra earning stuff. This is fun. We'll take advantage.
Looks like Hood's turning back around. Looks like they're about
Yeah.
to kill it right now. Hood's having trouble here.
Oh, that's not looking good.
No.
That is not looking good. And highway to hell. Here we go. Down to
Yeah.
40.
It's nasty when you spike one direction and then turn around. Oof.
When you skip like that, like you're skipping here, yeah, prone candle, yeah, it's not good. Not a good
Mhm.
sign. So let's see what Hood does. Um, they're fun to trade though. Not here in the after hours, but intraday action, they're really good. I like their price action, the way they're trade. So I'll probably be watching them tomorrow as well. We got
Me too.
so much stuff that we're gonna have to watch tomorrow, man. It's gonna be busy.
Yep.
Um, uh, let's see.
Let's see.
Well, it's yeah, kind of things are settling down here.
Yes.
Yeah. I like how Microsoft is positioned. I'm a little cautious for longs at this price, but I do see a lot of intention to go higher. So my hope is that they don't fill all these orders yet, and then we could start to fill them later tomorrow, because I can kind of see where the targets are now. Um, QCOM, I'm actually interested in too because there are some orders higher than this, so it dropped down, but it could actually recover the way that the level 2 is set up. So I'm interested in QCOM. Maybe not for a rally, but for at least a recovery. Somewhere around 145 to 148 would be ideal. And then I don't know what to do with Meta. It's a little too whippy. But yeah, I mean this is better than I expected, I would
Yeah,
say. We're getting moves here, which is nice. No more muted
yeah, Meta's.
reactions.
We are definitely outside the range on Microsoft, outside the expected move.
Exactly. Like that.
Just a little. Meta's a little more muted. See, I would have thought it would have been the other way around. And Meta did have better numbers. So it just goes to show you, even if you were insider and you knew what numbers Meta was going to report and Microsoft, you would have thought Meta would have had a much better reaction because they really did go well beyond their earnings expectation compared to
Yeah.
Microsoft, but Microsoft is the one that seems to be up the most. So that's why I always say that these earnings plays are a crapshoot, even if you knew what the numbers were.
Yeah. Trying to play
So
get in for earnings, it's tough. Play the reaction. Like I see you, Jared, do that. You play the reaction, but to say, "Hey, I'm going to jump in before earnings" without knowing what's going to happen, it's a gamble.
Yeah.
You're gambling, right? So
Yeah.
got to be careful. Now, if
yeah,
long term
revenue
stuff,
on
if you have a cushion and you have let's say you're in a Microsoft at 365, okay, that's a little bit different, right? But if you're getting in yesterday, the day before, yeah, that's a gamble. You just don't know.
And like we were saying, I mean, most of the stocks that we've monitored for earnings, Alphabet, Spotify, uh, might have to look back at like Starbucks and a couple of others. They moved, but they actually just went back to the closing price the day before earnings. So whatever movement they had was very temporary, and most of it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
is just falling back. So I don't know if these moves are necessarily sustainable, but the one that interests me is the one that's beyond what was expected, and that's why Microsoft kind of stands out a little bit.
Yeah.
QCOM might start moving further, but it's right on the boundary, so I'm not so sure about that one. And then the other
And
two are kind of whatever.
yeah. And like you mentioned, like we haven't had a lot of moves going to their expected move or blowing through them like Microsoft did. So Microsoft
Yeah,
will be interesting tomorrow. I mean, they all will, but Microsoft most definitely be on top of the list.
yeah. Microsoft's just fun to trade. I like Microsoft. It just needs
Yeah,
to
I
be
don't.
in motion.
It's a hit or miss for me on
Meta,
Microsoft on a regular basis, but tomorrow for sure there'll be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one you mentioned, Brian?
Meta's kind of fading a bit here, and
Yeah.
so is Microsoft. So kind of selling into this, some selling going into as we get further into the after hours.
Yeah, I didn't expect Microsoft to be up here for sure. I wasn't really thinking about where we opened or the first session of the year for Microsoft, but we've entered into that area, so that's why I'm cautious up here, but if we can drive past it, it would really entice maybe some new money buyers to step in. So it's always hard to buy into areas where you know are going to be trouble at first. You almost want multiple confirmations to get into a position, but right now early buyers have profit. So now we're going to see if they can continue. And yeah, I just didn't expect it to be there because of the expected move, but
Yeah.
it's a good jump. Or Meta needs a little kickstart here to get into my box.
Yeah, and it's a little push, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we did get like what the last 20 minutes or maybe 30 into the market close. We did get a nice move. I mean, Meta alone, if you look at Meta, it went from like not that much, like $20 moves at Meta approximately. So I'm not sure how much that hurts the actual expected move at the close, but we did get a nice rally on these towards the close too. So
True. True.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to call it a day. It looks like we've got our earnings out of the way.
yeah,
Amazon seems to be might be interesting for tomorrow. But we'll have to see what Mr. Market brings to us in the morning.
yeah. What
I'm
headline we're gonna wake up
expecting that.
to tomorrow? All right.
Well, I think something that's really going to get us a rally is if we start to see some announcements about some trade deals,
Yeah.
which would lead us to dropping some of the tariffs. I think we'd get an immediate positive market reaction from that.
Agree. And
So
it feels like really
I
we're just waiting on one country. I mean, the other ones are have like a 90-day pause, most of them on certain items. We're waiting on
right,
China. Just China paying Jing.
yeah,
Andrew's over there. If Andrew, if we could get a hold of the president, just have him call Trump and we could figure this out. We could be on our merry way to all-time highs in no time. We just need that. That's the
yeah,
call that everybody's waiting for it to happen. But these guys can't seem to meet
yeah.
in the middle.
Uh, I'm not so sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's going to be a long game for sure.
Yeah. Let's
So
see. Let's see who's gonna cry first in the casino. Let's see how it goes.
I just
yeah,
I just follow what the price action is telling me. I mean, I don't need
yeah,
to read
that's
news
it.
when the
That's
price is going up or down. I just follow the
that's
candles.
it. Yeah,
But
Yeah.
Price is
today
king.
was tricky. I will give it that. There's this concept in the market where if you're following a pattern and the pattern breaks down, there's really only one type that you're looking for, and it's the one behind the pattern. And then we broke down this morning on a lot of things, but as soon as we recovered these channels on the indices, and especially with earnings now, like it's anyone's game really in this market. And you just have to be ready for either side. So I'm looking at how I drew these channels, and once you recover, you run the whole thing. So that's what it takes to be a trader. You have to be ready for both moves,
Yeah.
and you have to
Yeah.
know when you're
Absolutely.
wrong. So
Yeah.
100%.
yeah,
We saw it
you
on
know,
Starbucks
Yeah.
today. Someone asked me, why did you go? Why did you go long on Starbucks? It gapped down and sold off. I'm like, because the price actually said to go long here. So, what I want to see is I want news to create volatility for us, right? That's all we care about. Create volatility and movement. Whether you go long or short, we don't care. But that's what news does. That's what catalyst does. That's what earnings does for a lot of us. Just creates that volatility and that volume, which again we need, right? So yeah, I'm looking
yeah.
forward to tomorrow. Should be a lot of fun. Got a lot happening there, and then we won't be live tomorrow, but we do have Amazon and Apple after the close MSTR, and for some reason I like Reddick. I like looking at it. I mean, I like what the stock has done since it IPO'd. Has sold off a lot from 220 down to 119. So that should be interesting tomorrow. They have earnings as well, alongside
Yeah.
Airbnb, Roku. I mean, you name it. It's just a bunch of companies. So that should be
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's a lot of
Markets
stuff
are.
to watch.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. But Jared, Brian, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you guys being on. Brian for covering
Great.
for
Yep.
Peter. He's on vacay and over on YouTube and our members in our chat. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the chat when we're engineering the markets with Jared, and then 8:30 pre-market prep, and followed by all the good stuff, live trading, and all the fun stuff we do after. So take care, guys. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe if it's your first time here over on YouTube, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye,
Thanks, Jared.
everybody.
Thanks,
See you
Brian.
guys.
Have a good one.
Cheers. Yep.